Nope, looks like you're typing. Your mic is not available. Let's see. Can I ask you to unmute? No. All right. Well, we'll let you figure out your microphone once you get it. Let us know. All right. Anybody got anything they'd like to share? We're gonna have a small group today. Might be able to deep dive into something here. Elaine, you're muted. Oh, hi, Marcus.
Hello.
Welcome. It's your first time.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. If you'd like to
Thanks.
introduce yourself and just to share a little bit about what brings you here and how you found me in this work.
Of course. Yeah, hello all. I'm Marcus. I've watched quite a few of these videos, past replays and whatnot, so I feel like I know some of you, which is a funny feeling, but yeah, I'm from just north of Toronto in Canada, Ontario. And I found your work through, I was actually going through my emails and stuff to find out how I found it. And it was through a podcast that you did. Um, what's his name? Dean Pullman. He runs like a yoga type thing.
Yeah.
So I was subscribed to his list and I saw him there and I think I watched part of that or most of it. I don't really remember too much because like I mentioned in my email or in my post about rearranging deck chairs is that I tend to sign up for things
Yeah.
and I just sign up for them out of the whim and just leave it and don't do anything with it. So that's the way it was. I found out back in 2023 I signed up and I signed up for your email list and I didn't do much about it and but now I'm here. So on a whim again, I saw your post about the group, the school group, and I thought, okay, well let's just see what this is all about. And I signed up for that and now I'm here. So the book is on its way. Um, the hardcover book. I found out that I have access to the uh, the spoken version on Spotify. So I'm listening to it now. I'm on chapter 2 or 3, I think, and I'm almost done the foundational teachings through school. So I listened to
Great.
that on my commute into work this morning, and yeah, so I'm I'm trying to think of what what relates to like past sort of teachings and whatnot that I've been involved in. And I would say that I've had some sort of experience with this idea of being being whole rather than and just trying to uncover that rather than the I'm broken and I need to get something to fix me. Um, that's kind of been what I've been more attracted to these days with the type of self-help things that I've been involved in. So lately, it's one that was quite effective was something called fascial maneuvers. There's a group or an organization called Human Garage, where they work with the body to loosen the fascia in your body, and they do these sort of um, physical movements that are meant to kind of release that. And then the idea is that when you release tension and everything in your body, then the emotions are also released. And I found great success with that. I got some kind of breakthroughs and whatnot. Um, but then, like I was mentioning before in my post, that I get to a point where I think I don't know how to deal with the, whatever that comes up, the negativity or the the thing that is released when I do something. And so that puts me into a spiral of depression and whatnot, because I can't force myself, I suppose. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I can't face it, basically, is what I'm trying to get. So I've reached a I get to I
That you
noticed that
don't,
my
one question,
pattern.
that you don't,
Mhm.
you're not willing, it's too hard, or you don't have like the tools or the knowledge in order to know what to deal with it.
I think it's the latter, the tools and whatnot to deal with it, because I'll get to a point where I get to a realization about my past or about something that's going on in my head or in my body, and it's there. I can feel it, but I just don't know what to do with it to go further into it to release it. So what I'm attracted to in your work is the tools to dive deeper into that to release it. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm attracted to this sort of work, because it's fucking time to release some things and get rid of them so that I can live my best life. I know I'm not broken. I know I'm not damaged and whatnot. But there are things that are attracted to this physical body that I need to, release. I need to get rid of them in order to live my best life. And so let's do it.
You are. Yeah. Well, welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I hope that this approach and what we share here can be something that helps. Um, there's a certain pattern in people that come in that are looking for, not necessarily you, but there are people that have certain patterns where they're hoppers, right? And so they find one modality and, oh, this is the next great thing, and then they find the next thing. And so what they're doing is they're actually avoiding doing the real work and
Mm,
going on to the next thing that will save them.
yeah.
Um, and there's also the people that uh, want to feel and appear like they're doing the deep work, and so they say all the terms and do all the phrases and know all the gurus and read all the books, but they don't actually do the shadow work. They don't actually go in and do the stuff.
Mm,
Um, and there's various reasons for everything. But one of your comments on the group, and I know it wasn't directed towards us. You were just speaking out loud and sharing, which is great, right? This kind of thing of like, fuck, here I am again. All right, this seems like it might be the thing, but then all the rest seem like the thing, and am I just fooling myself
mhm.
again? Um, and so, what the thing to not say to that is, yes, yes, Marcus, this is the thing. We will rescue you. We will save you. This is the one and only thing. Um,
Yeah.
because it's not. Anything will work if you work it. That's one of the secrets, is that the best student can make the most out of an awful teacher and awful teachings. Because we learn what not to do. We learn what doesn't work. There's plenty of people that teach us of what not to do, which is very helpful. So we want to go deeper into that, right? There might be a self-sabotage. There might be a hopelessness, a helplessness. There might be some other things going on that you might not be aware of consciously. And so there are a few things that do actually make this work different than anything else out there. Um, but it's not like those things are going to be the saviors, the rescuers. We want to help empower you, whether it's in this modality or other ones. Of course, I'm biased because this is the one I'm putting out into the world, and it saved my life, and it's worked for myself and many other people when nothing else did. So there is that. But after you get over that, after it kind of does its thing, you start either realizing, oh, you don't really need anything else because it's all inside of you. Not
Hmm.
that this is the solution, but because you realize that it's inside of you, or and um, you then open up to new things. You open up to letting everything help you. Um, so this work is not, as you probably started could start to tell. It's not surface level. It's not pop psychology or woo stuff. Um,
Mm.
we we go deep. Now these calls are free, open to the public calls, so we're not necessarily going into shadow material here and doing cinesomatics and deep feedback. Um, but a lot of my clients show up. Elaine, Hannah's done a lot of the work. Hannah can wave. There she is. Um, and then a bunch of other people come on and they've shared their experience, and um, it's really a great place to start connecting. You've watched some of the replays, reading the book, so it's a nice open forum to start plugging into it, and
Hmm.
being exposed to language and words and terms and ideas and philosophies that probably wouldn't talk about, at the bar or with friends normally. So I hope
Yeah.
this can be a great, um, a great part of your journey, and
Yep.
hopefully we got workshops, and I do cinesomatics and stuff like this. So hopefully there's also some other ways that we can help you.
Okay. Well, looking forward to getting the tools to help myself. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.
Andrew,
You're welcome.
is my work mic working now, Andrew?
Yep. Hear you
Oh,
loud and clear.
yay, success. That's great. Oh,
So share a
should I
little
go?
bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
okay.
share a
Okay.
little bit about yourself, how you
Okay.
found me, and
Okay. My name's Heather. I live in Victoria Harbour, Ontario, Canada, and I was doing a search for the specific words were self-realization and breakthrough, and your book came up. So I ordered it from Amazon and I read it. I read it the whole thing, except I skipped over the cinematog cine
cinesomatics. Yeah.
cinesomatics exercise, and I didn't read it. Like I didn't like it said, don't read it till right. So I
Yeah.
left it. I'm now, and then I watched a couple of the videos, and I'm now going through. Oh, and I've got a low battery. Hang on, I got to plug you in. And I went through. I watched a couple of the videos, and oh, sorry about that. Oh, I'm flipping you all over the place. Okay, there we go. You can still hear me, okay?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Um. Yeah, and I'm now on my second time through the book, and I feel like I'm reading it slower, like taking it in at a deeper level. And I'm really intrigued by the cinema. I will get it.
Cinesomatics. Yeah.
Cinema,
Yeah.
cinematic,
Cinesomatics. Yeah.
cinesomatics. I'm totally intrigued by it. Um, I have it in my mind that I will set up a session with you.
Great.
Of course, I did the $450 for 2 hours, but it's not like I don't have the money, and I have a
That's actually a good deal.
oh yeah, oh good, good.
Yeah.
I have um I have some extra work coming up in October or November or whatever. So I've said to myself that money is going to go towards that. So as soon as I'm paid for that, then I'm going to book that
Great.
two
We
hours with
also,
you.
I'm also announcing uh, one of my first classes, that's a lot more affordable. So I'll share about that near the end of the call.
Okay.
But that'll be next month. It'll be a short 4 hour class. Half of it is introducing, is kind of a presentation teaching what is cinesomatics, what the heck this is, and then the last part is an experiential you actually will get to do some of it. So
Okay.
it's a group thing, so it doesn't go nearly as deep as a private session.
Mhm.
Um, but that'll be like less than $200. So
Okay. And
yeah,
I don't mind doing the 450, right? It was just like that
yeah,
initial
sometimes, yeah.
whatever. But yeah, yeah. I totally don't mind that. From what I've read and what I've seen, what I've heard from the people on here who shared, it's absolutely worth it.
Well, thank you. I hope so. I
Mhm.
think a lot of
Mhm.
people, it's a turning point in a lot of people's lives, because it shows things that nothing else shows.
Mhm.
You see things about yourself that on the deepest levels you'll recognize.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's stuff we lie to ourselves, we hide from ourselves, we con ourselves, or we have trauma and we've buried it, we've suppressed it, for
Mhm.
survival. So, um, if you want to, did you do the embodied story exercise yet, or were you waiting till
Is
after the session?
is that the PDF that was the every 10 years
Nope,
or
that's the
or
life
whatever
map.
it was? Okay, no, then
That's
I
this.
didn't do no, I didn't do the other one. I printed the life map,
Yep.
but I didn't do the other one.
Okay. All right.
So I'll make a note to do that.
Yeah, so that's the one you skipped over in the book. If you want to do that,
Okay.
one of the things when we have smaller groups, like last week we had 20 people, today it's a smaller group. When we have smaller groups like this, sometimes we have time, and I'll do a public review for people who are feeling courageous,
Okay.
um, of taking a look at one of their embodied storied exercises and giving a little bit of feedback, just to, just as some juicy tidbits. So that's an option. You're not required,
Okay.
but sometimes people, get a little courageous, not quite knowing what they might be getting into. Um, so that's an option too. The same for you, Marcus, as well. Um, if you record yourself doing the embodied storied exercise at the end of the book, if we ever have free time, we can maybe take a look at some of that. And great. All right. Well, thank you both for introducing yourselves. It's good to have you here. Elaine, you started speaking earlier. What were you sharing? Besides, again, your seemingly daily breakthroughs and epiphanies.
I
Have you
know.
guys seen what she's been sharing? I mean, she is
Yes,
just
it's
taking
just
off.
marvelous. Yeah, I had such a good compliment today. I was going to share that because, and I feel like the store that I run is a natural food store, so it has a lot of the natural people um
The natural people.
and it also lets me like I won't see people for 4 months or something. They're on vacation or they're moving and they came back. Well, anyway, today that was one of these people. He's moving to Arizona, but he had to come back and get some things. And he told me today, he said, you're looking brighter. And I said, really? Okay. I've been doing a lot of inner work. Um, and then he said, you've gotten in touch with your feminine side, and I was just like, oh my God. I said, how did you know? And he said he's just been studying this stuff a long time and he could feel it. And it's just like, wow. It was just so great to hear and to get that.
Validating, isn't it? Isn't it helpful to get
Yes,
that feedback? Yeah.
it is. It really like helps the steps or helps me to keep going. And I just felt wonderful. Um,
Yeah, it
and
shows you it's not just me flattering you, right?
yeah, that it's working. And
Yeah.
and then I planted my grass today. So these things that I want to do, I'm starting to get them done in my busy life. Whereas, prior to this, it was just I was overwhelmed by everything. I didn't even have visions. I didn't even have wants or didn't even know what I needed. And I didn't accept any love for myself or it's
You're
it's
speechless.
just
It's
so
it's
yes.
isn't it bizarre? Well, you're really starting to wake up to some of this stuff where you're like, oh, yeah, what you told me 6 months ago. I mean, you guys, so for some of you that don't know, it's only been 7 months, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
When she started, she was absolutely depressed. She felt like she was at the bottom of the ocean. She was on emotional life support. She said she hadn't cried or laughed, right, in months or who knows how long. Um, it's amazing. And it's because she's followed the instructions, right? She's shown up, she's participating, she's doing the work every week, every day, making new choices, playing, experimenting, trying. It's
And
amazing.
yes, and the more that I'm
Yes.
showing, the more I'm showing up, it feels like the more the universe is showing up for me. It's just
I
so
know.
beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
so somehow, all the um advertisers found out I want to grow grass. So they sent me a thing where you can put, like tulip bulbs, you can hide them in your grass. And then in the spring, you have bulbs coming up amongst your grass. And I love flowers. So there's a whole new thing I could do with grass. That's exciting. And then
For those of you
I'm
that don't know,
wearing,
she lives in a desert, so it's a big deal. Yeah.
right, yes. Yeah, I need to put that
Yeah,
context in
preface
there.
that. Yeah. People are like, "Oh, you're grass. All right. Yeah, it's grass has changed your life. Yeah, grass. Oh, okay. You're growing grass, right?"
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. No. She lives in a desert. Yeah.
Been wearing more jewelry. I've have all this jewelry and I never allowed myself to wear it. It's just amazing. I just I can't believe that I just felt like I couldn't wear it for the longest time, that it just, I
Is it
guess it wouldn't match my clothes and
well, is it
my
more your
feeling
your
inside.
your parents' stuff, like the nails?
Right, yes. My mom, yeah. It was that whole feminine energy that I blocked off. And
Well, and the interesting thing is that when we talk about feminine energy, it's not the superficial cultural way of talking about it, right? But if we have judgments about those stereotypes, we can't access the resources of the fundamental archetype, right? So if we are saying masculine, now in our head, masculine is macho and never have emotions and tough and all of these things, sleazy, manipulative, abusive, whatever it is. We have these images of the masculine in our mind. And we start learning about getting in touch with our masculine, feminine, whatever it is. Well, in cinesomatics, we do what's called somatic archetype work. And this is where we work with these archetypes of human consciousness in the body. So we'll have people express these concepts of masculine, of feminine, of giving, receiving, making money, intimacy, surrender, whatever it is, and have them show it through their body. And it is absolutely remarkable because it bypasses all of the conscious mind, all the ego, and we get to see how that person relates to these concepts in themselves, in others, and in their life without having to talk about it. Within seconds, I know how someone relates to these concepts. And then we have it on video and we play it back, and then you and the clients get to see, oh, I thought feminine was this thing. And when I see myself doing it, it's this thing or whatever. Those are just random examples. So, in order to get into relationship with the archetype of masculine, we have to be willing to go into our judgments and projections and definitions of the stereotype. That's in the way. right? Because we are going to refuse to go into and accept and integrate something that we're judging, rejecting, we think is bad, awful, abusive, scary, whatever that is. But our definitions of these things are based on stereotypes. They're based on trauma. They're based on judgments. They're based on cultural conditionings. But the trick is that you have to be willing to go into those. You have to be willing to face and accept those things in order to go into the real thing underneath it, right? You imagine a facade, right? Let's say wallpaper, right? You have to break through the fake wallpaper in order to get into the real room, for example. That's a weird metaphor, but right, you have to break through something that feels like it's the thing. You break through it to get to the real thing, but you have to be willing to go there. So that's why I talk about in the book. You have to be willing to betray your family. You have to be willing to die. You have to be willing to be annihilated. It's not because I like those things. It's not because I'm crazy and I want you to die. It's because the fear of going into those things or the fear of letting those things in based on faulty definitions is going to prevent you from getting into relationship and accessing the resources of the real thing. So the perfect example of this is Elaine. And if you've watched some of the videos, she talked about her nails. So this is the perfect illustration, right? Judgment, projection, distorted definitions of what girly, feminine was, nails, beauty, right? Tacky, maybe slutty or uh, or manipulative or fake or not natural, artificial, whatever it is. Those distorted definitions, right, came from parents. And in order to be loved and accepted by the parents, right, we match those things, right? If we are or we like something that our parents are rejecting at a young age, it's a threat, right? It's a threat to that relationship. We could be rejected. So this is one of the reasons why kids, right, do the same things. That's why when I was 4 years old, my stepdad came into the picture and was like, I hate pickles. And I'm like, yeah, me too. I hate pickles, even though I fucking love pickles. And then for 20 years, I didn't eat pickles. And then at some point in my life, I tried a pickle and I was like, this is fucking good. I like this. Bubby's pickles, if you have health food stores. Elaine knows, Hannah knows. Bubby's really good. Um, but I had to be willing to betray a connection with my father. I had to be willing to lose that little thread. Ooh, there's some feeling there. Yeah, that just this connects us. Can you guys think of these little things that you think that you can feel? These random little likes or dislikes or views or preferences that connect you with your parents or someone you love? Oh, that restaurant. Oh, that genre of music. Oh, that complaint. That sickness. Oh, that disease. Oh, it's genetic. It runs in my family. Oh, I'm like the rest of my family. It can be insidious or it can be innocent. And so in order to really find out who we really are and to get closer to our true self, we have to be willing to betray those relationships that were formed at primitive years. And it's not about rejecting our parents. It's not about getting them out of our lives. It's not about actual betraying them in reality. It's an emotional, mental, spiritual willingness to betray. You don't have to, but are you willing to? Are you willing to lose that connection with your family, with your parents, in order to stop suffering? In order to make more money? In order to be with someone from a different culture or race? To stand out, to shine brighter than them, to be your own person, to live a new life. The reality is we're not actually betraying them. but we have to be willing to emotionally in order to go there. Just like we have to be willing to go into the stereotypes in order to access that that pure essential archetypical energy of that thing. Is this making sense to everybody? Yeah. So not necessarily easy, can be a little scary. It can feel very confronting. It could feel like, how dare you? You're trying to pit me against my family. No. But if your family has mythologies that run them, that are keeping them and you stuck, it is your responsibility and duty, if you're aware of this, to break free, to betray the mythology, to betray the limitations in order to actually align and have allegiance towards your real family. Go ahead. You're poking us all over the place.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm going to have to put my hand down, but I'll poke you later to do that.
All
So
right.
as you're saying this, I
Someone
took
might be jealous, but all right.
yeah, I took like I'm totally getting what you're saying. One thing where my mind is going when you're saying it is, what about when it's the opposite, where it's like, perhaps I've done way more to not be like my parents than to keep a connection. So then does the action need to become more like them?
It all depends. Great question. So this is a really good sort of I don't know what you call it, demo example that I give. So imagine this is the thing. So this could be your parents, it could be their authority, this could be a story, this could be a trauma, this could be a judgment, this could be your childhood, this could be people at work, this could be being humiliated when you were 5, this could be abuse, whatever it is. Your parents, right? If we are at the effect of that, what's going to happen is that we're not at choice. We're in what's called reaction formation. So this is the cause. And you're directed in 2 ways. You can either do the opposite, right? Go away from it, or do the same thing and become like them. And so a lot of people are in reaction formation. And so what happens is this thing is not a choice. This thing directs your life in 1 or 2 directions, right? Like them or the opposite, to get away from them. What we want to do is not to be at the effect of this thing. What we want to do is to go into it, to penetrate it, heal it. And then what happens is that we're here. And we could, if that's what really we want to do, is to go this way or this way, we can. But we can also go this way or this way or this way, or any way that we want to go. So we're always looking to reclaim choice. How can we be the most at choice in our life and not be dictated and ran by trauma, stories, all of this sort of thing? So that's one thing. That's one thing to look at. As far as if you do the opposite, is the remedy to go back in the other direction? Maybe. So if someone comes in, a really good example of this, that if someone comes in and they're just way in their feminine and they're out of their masculine, I'm going to invite them to do things that feel way more masculine to bring them into center, into relationship, and vice versa. Someone comes in very hyper masculine, I'm going to be talking about flowers and self-care and, things like that. I say flowers not derogatory, but literally I have men come in and I say, buy some flowers, and, I lose clients. So I'll have 2 clients and our sessions look absolutely different. One of them, they feel like I'm being more stern and keeping them on track, and the other ones feel like I'm right. Let's just find the feeling. Let's go with the flow, because of what they're out of relationship with and how to get them in. So if that's the case, what we'd want to look at is staying away from your parents, moving away from them, is it to not have a connection, or is it to not end up being like them and doing what they did? Which one
For
is it?
for me,
Yeah.
um, I think there was very little connection in the first place.
Okay.
And then it's just some of their behaviors I definitely like. I don't want to be an alcoholic, so I don't drink, right? And I don't
Right.
need to. I don't. I feel like it is a choice to
Yeah.
not be like that. Um, and there's there's other
So
stuff.
yeah, great.
That's a
Yeah,
good example, but
great.
there's other stuff too, right? Where it's like I don't. I was told when I was growing up, just get married and have kids, right? Like that was from my dad. Like don't go to university. That's stupid. You shouldn't have a job or a career. That's stupid. You're a woman. Go just get married and have kids. So I'm not married. I'm in a great relationship, but I'm not married and I don't have kids.
Yeah.
I didn't want kids, and I don't think the universe wanted me to have kids anyway. So some of those things I'm like, I feel fine with those. I don't feel like I'm like, I'm not doing that because
Sure.
they said that. But I go back to your reading and some of the things you're saying. You don't know what you don't know. So what else am I doing potentially that is not a choice? Like I am being reactive and not choosing, and therefore not being able to go wherever I want with it
Yeah.
because I don't know. Because I don't know that I'm doing that,
Right.
not doing
And
it.
sometimes we lie to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we justify after the fact. There's
Mm-hmm.
a, I've worked with a lot of people who have been terribly hurt in relationships, who've been betrayed, or who have been rejected and not have had ones, and have said, I don't need love. Fuck, I can do it all myself. I'm strong, independent. I don't need anybody. Almost always comes from pain and hurt, not because their true path was to be single forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for most people. Most people aren't destined, right? That's not what's going to be the most fulfilling thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
Some, great. Are they at peace? Are they healed? That's what we really want to look at. So, for example, the alcohol thing, right? Very well could be a reaction formation. Could also very well have saved your life. Could have been a great thing, right? So we don't judge the things. We want to look at the relationship. Now, if what happens is you're afraid of alcohol, that you're avoiding it, that you've never tasted it because you're terrified of becoming alcoholic, that's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not suggesting go out and get drunk and become an alcoholic. But what may be helpful is to taste, have a taste of vodka, have a shot, get through the fear, right? Heal it, get into relationship with it and say, yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid of alcohol. I've had alcohol. I just don't like it. I just don't drink
Mm-hmm.
it. Once in a while, maybe have a shot for someone's birthday. That's nice. That's cool. That's fun. Once or twice a year, have some wine. Okay. I'm not scared of it though. And so those are things that, and also people that do drink, some of them don't even like to drink. It's just emotionally and socially, they get pressured into it. So these are the things that we want to start looking at is the truth you are at complete peace not having a relationship with your parents? It might not be. If you never had that connection, there could be an aspect where you're like, well, I've never had it. I don't know what I'm missing. I'm just going to get on with my life. Also, maybe an aspect of a little girl who is really, really sad that her parents treated her that way. And that's what we want to start diving into and looking at. And I'm not here to tell the life. I don't give advice. I don't say you should be a parent. This is better that way or anything. What I do want to do is help people find the truth. And that truth can be very disruptive. Um, I've had I've worked with people and the truth is very disruptive. Their entire image of their self collapses because it was built upon a lie or a fantasy. Um, Not everybody is willing to completely have an upheaval in their life, to completely let their identity die and to find their true self. Um, so that's usually what I go for. That's kind of my I go that deep, hence very not inexpensive prices, high committal work. Uh, I only work with a handful of people for long periods. We go really deep. We do shadow work, heal lots of trauma. Elaine, Hannah, um, and both of them know not necessarily fun, not necessarily easy, and a lot of the time it's not what they want to hear. Very confronting, and sometimes it's hard because, and Hannah, you can speak to this if you like, um, of almost being presented with things that completely contradict an inner knowing, but it's on video. It's in your body. You have the proof and the evidence. It's like, well, you say that you don't want this, but when I see you move, you're in tremendous grief and longing and sadness. And so it can be very challenging to look at that. So again, don't have any idea, any specifics with you, but these are some things that might happen, could happen, and really the ultimate thing is truth. And so that's why I say make truth the most important thing. Not your happiness, not your fantasy of your life, not having contentment, not being comfortable in your cozy home. If you really want to wake up, um, you have to make truth very, very, very important. Um, and it may not be fun. And it also may be very liberating.
If Hannah doesn't mind sharing, did could she see it? Like when she saw the video, even though it was like,
Oh, that's a great question. Oh, you
oh,
picked the right person. Yeah.
could she see it?
Yeah.
Yes, I could see it in the video. And it was in stark contrast to what I thought I was doing and how I thought I was showing up in the world. And in fact, it looked like kind of all of my worst fears of how I could possibly be showing up in the world. And so it was very very jarring and confusing because I'm like, my feeling and my inner knowing inside of me feels so powerful and so sure. And I've always really felt very connected to that and really prided myself in that. And then to look at my body moving and to have it not reflect that hardly at all, I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck, body? But then
No, 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 no. You were not like, what the fuck, body. You were like, what the fuck, Andrew.
yeah, first, yes.
Yes.
Yes, at first I was like, what the fuck, Andrew? And then I want to like explain why. Well, it's because I'm anxious right now because this is weird and you're asking me to do something that's strange and I'm, all these
all the reasons. Yeah.
And on one hand, it's like, oh, well, this makes a lot of sense as to why my life is not where I thought it would be if this is what everyone else sees. And then there's a lot of shame of that. And it's like, felt like if you go to school and you feel like you have a really cool outfit on or something, and then you get there and all the other kids are like, actually, that's not cool. And you're like, oh, I thought it was, but I guess I was wrong. The sort of feeling. And then also the contrast between like the feedback of the evidence of my life as far as where I am financially and career and relationships, versus like the feedback that I get from my family and friends are two very different things. So it's like, well, so what's going on there? Like, does my family and friends have they been lying to me? Do they just not, I mean, on one hand, they just don't see what we see in this work. But then I also realized there was a lot of enabling going on in all of my relationships and like, you're doing great. just keep going, which is beautiful, but there was nothing like constructive in it. So a lot of just contrasting things that then led me to feel very confused as to what's up and what's down. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
She still hasn't quite decided which one it is yet. Um, it's yeah. Because right, there's an allegiance to the family and to everyone who's felt very loving. And then there's the evidence that's literally in front of you in your own body that is saying something different. And when we have distortions, when we have miswiring, when we have inaccurate definitions of things, it makes it very hard to sort the stuff out, right? Because if you've associated feedback your whole life to people hugging you and encouraging you, when someone gives you feedback that is about something that's not working, it feels like criticism or an attack potentially, right? If you feel like love is only coddling, rescuing, um, codependence, enabling, cheerleading, motivation, then when love comes in at a different flavor, it doesn't feel like love, right? When love comes in as this is what you're doing that doesn't work, that's causing you great pain and suffering. Here's how you can stop and have a better life, right? That can feel like the opposite of what people around you who's loved you have done your entire life. That is going to feel off. But then, right, there's still this little sparkle, right? Hannah still has this part of her that she knows that there's something to this. And but she also has this other, so it's great inner conflict, um, living between two worlds, and she's got to sort that out herself, and she's going to decide at some point, which one she wants to live, and we're going to support her in that. Um, it's tough. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not comfortable. Um, so requires great courage. And whatever we do is okay. Um, we just once your eyes open, it's really hard to close them again without things getting worse. Uh, Elaine, right? You just saw The Matrix. Yeah. Remember when they wake up and he wants to go back into the Matrix? He's eating the steak and he literally betrays everybody in reality because he wants to go back into the Matrix and eat steak again.
Yes. Yes, the whole movie just I had never seen it before, and the last 20 minutes or so I just started crying, and which is so great for me. It's so great for me just to finish a movie, and it's so great for me to actually feel the characters. After the movie was over, I just had intense wailing and crying, and I was just laying on the couch, and I as I've learned through this work, initially my husband's like, here's the dog, pet the dog. I was like, no, I want to feel this. So everybody left, and I
Hold
just
on. I'm gonna stop you here because you're saying I think something that could be very helpful. What is that feeling when your husband tried to rescue you from your crying that caused you to say, "No, I don't want that"?
um I guess it's been from your teachings that the point is I'm not trying to feel good, I'm not trying to feel bad, I'm trying to feel. It's not about what if it's bad, I don't want to feel it. I want to feel everything. And since I come from a place where it's hard to cry, it's hard, if I am at all moved to cry, I am ready to do it. And I was so grateful for that movie. It just, wow, it was just so powerful in so many ways for me. I I still don't know exactly what it is, but it's
Stay, no, go back, stay down. Come on.
uh it just,
Eyes open.
how beautiful the Neo.
No, no, no. Talk about yourself.
Okay, me.
Yeah.
um I just identified with Neo. I identified with Marcus, or can't remember the black guy's name.
Morpheus.
Morpheus.
That's Marcus over there.
Oh yeah. um the pain and the suffering that they all went through, I kind of, identified that with myself through this work. It's been really hard many times, painful, um, and just the strength and the courage and that they had, that they held on, like Marcus when they're torturing him and he's about to die, just that human strength. And Neo, he didn't really believe in himself. And then something great was happening, and the other people on the other side of the line were like, what's going on? And they say, oh, Neo believes in himself, or has found himself. I can't remember the exact words. But it just reflected in myself. I'm finding myself and my own power in this world, and I had locked it away. And how sad for me, how sad for those around me and my family. And now that I'm opening up to it, it's so joyous and beautiful. And I just feel like I'm not wasting my life. um so
The important thing about when Neo was the chosen one was that, oh, this is so good. He went to the Oracle and he asked, and she gave him feedback. And she said, no, you're not. And then at the end, what did he do? He made the choice.
yes, that was the choice.
It was the
And he
choice.
stopped the bullets right there. It's just like,
You're
just that.
making the choice, Elaine.
Yes, it was so powerful. I could not stop crying and wailing, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah, well, you understand that crying is gratitude. Yeah, it's self-love. And your husband couldn't see that, right? So he did what he wanted to do to try to help, right? But actually, you needed to feel that. It was a beautiful thing. It was a
Oh, it
beautiful moment.
was.
Yes.
And I was, yes. Was,
Yeah, these circles have been really cool. They've been very empowering for you.
I'm just flabbergasted.
I know, me too. I'm like literally just made it up in the last few minutes of a call, and I mean it's been so powerful and energizing. Um, you're talking about empowerment. You've just felt so limp and dead and weak and listless, and you're getting structure, you're getting power, you're having force in your body, you're being energized. You have
Yes.
blood, you have life, and it's because of you.
and it feels like I'm bringing in creativity
Yeah,
and visions, and the world is exciting, and it's just so vastly different from what I was leading. I was just so depressed and just stuck, and um it just feels like a whole new life. um
it is.
it is, yeah. And even, tiny little things, like my daughter the other day, she said, she told her classmates, I can't believe my mom remembered to put my vitamin in my lunch. Just little things like
Yeah.
that I wasn't showing up for, but she noticed it. And I know there's many things,
Yeah,
and
you cleaned the fridge and you didn't even remember you cleaned the fridge.
I was like, oh, the fridge is clean. Oh, I did that yesterday. Things are flowing. It's like the circles are, yeah, energizing me, and
Momentum. Yeah.
momentum, getting me in the flow of life. I feel more of a living being, that I am here, that I have impact, that I have a mission, that I've been going through the store a little bit today because I'm trying to say every product, is it making us money? Is it
Oh,
paying its
wow,
rent?
look at you. Wow.
And I actually identified a few products where I'm like, why is it giving, more discounts on this? So I'm figuring out, like, it's selling it for less than we're buying it for, so that will increase revenue once we get
You
it.
know, you know what I'm feeling?
What?
Saucy. No, I'm feeling care.
Yes,
You're starting to care now, which is the antithesis of apathy and depression. You're
right.
caring about things. You're caring.
Yes, and oh, another thing, I need to write about this, but I looked into mandalas and actually learned how to draw them, because they're circles, and I just thought, I've always loved patterns, and oh my gosh. And so I want to do a big one by the register that says, thank you to our customers. And I've already been looking at the wall, like how big I'm gonna
Vision.
make
So
it. I
you
have,
see her visions turning on. She's
oh
never
yes,
had
it's
vision.
vision. Yeah.
Yeah. You're literally envisioning things. I mean, it's built. I mean, it's so all this stuff is self-descriptive. We just miss it. It's like, I have clients say, "Well, how do I have a vision?" No, they're like this. How do I have a vision? I'm like, open your eyes. Literally, right? They're like, or they're just looking down. I can't see my future. I can't see my future. How do I have a vision for my life? Look. Oh, we do this on the Slack line. We're going to have this workshop in December. Get people in a Slack line, and it's a great way to see a vision. Um, but these things are connected to the body. When you start imagining things, when you start looking, this is the proper vision is the proper use of projection. Most people project improperly. They take their stories, their judgments, all their crap, all their unresolved shadow material in here, and they go, bleh, and they just project it out onto others in the world and to life, to God, to everything. That's an improper use because what happens is you're not seeing reality, you're seeing you. You're seeing your shadow material. You're seeing your unconscious projected out onto the world. Now, when we do symbolism work, that's what we're doing. Very, very powerful because that stuff reveals how we're doing that. And when that happens, it's like what Hannah's experiencing is that you don't see reality for what it is. Right? You're not seeing reality for what it is when you're projecting upon it. When you have distortions, that's that's the other part of it, having distortions in perception, right? We have perceptual filters, which means stuff that comes in gets distorted and filtered and all this stuff. And then we also have projections where we take what's inside and put it outside. One's outside in, the other oh, one's outside in, inside out. And so when you have vision, you are seeing reality for how it really is while seeing the future superimposed onto it. Not a fantasy. You're not daydreaming, projecting a fantasy. You're willing to see a new future or the future that's informing you to see it that way. You could look at it in different ways. But essentially, it's understanding that that blank wall or that blank spot at the register is now blank. The truth is that's blank. But also because of your divinity, your choice as your ability to make choice and have will as a creator in the universe, you get to change that. You get to affect that. And so you say blankness and you use your creativity to project this mandala on it. And then guess what happens? And if you take action and you make that choice and you actually do it, guess what? That shows up. So it's different than a fantasy and distorted projections. You're not going around saying, "Oh, look, I'm lit." Elon Musk is not going around saying, "Look, we're already on Mars." But what he is doing is saying, "I see us on Mars," and he's getting us there. Whether you like him or not doesn't matter. The fact that is there's a vision and there's progress being made towards it. And so that's exactly what I'm hearing from you. Your vision is starting to turn on. You're starting to see things. You're starting to look ahead. You're starting to have creativity and desires. Um, it's amazing. All right, David or Holly, any of you guys got something you'd like to share before we start winding down here?
Well, I'm still just doing a lot of shadow work. Um, I'd like to see like the triggers I have as opportunities to learn, to feel, um, learning just about my avoidant tendencies, basically. And
Are you going into them? Or are you just learning about them?
I'm into them.
Okay.
I mean, one thing about that I find helpful, you use the word penetrate a lot, and for some reason, that's I don't know why it doesn't work for me.
Okay.
It almost seems like it's like separate from me, like it's like I'm penetrating into that. Um, and what I use is more like allowing or expressing, I guess. So when I allow that feeling to be expressed, that's when like I think I see a lot of benefit. Um, I mean that means really like surrendering to that feeling and maybe doing doing movements and stuff that might be considered awkward or at least that the way I see it. Um, so I mean the thing I really try to focus on just my daily living instead of like setting aside time. I really don't have a lot of extra time right now, so I try to just focus as I go about my day, I guess. Um,
Yeah, that's the the difference in approach of right, you can penetrate or be penetrated. You can allow or confront and face. Um, you just find what works because right, for some people there might be reverse wirings or miswirings, right? Some people when they internally feel like they're penetrating into something, maybe they're actually fighting it or resisting it. But then if you say, all right, let it penetrate you, right, then it opens up. Doesn't matter how you want to say it. The thing that matters is that you go into it and it opens and it moves through. Um, and the other thing to look at is also, again, what's our relationship with the terms? So, for example, um, penetrate and surrender are triggering for people. That's why I use it. It's good. We want to be okay. We want to be comfortable with those words, right? We want to be comfortable in penetrating. We also want to be comfortable being penetrated. But we have all this culture, we have these traumas, we have abuse, we have really horrible things that have happened to most of us, to a lot of us. And in order to heal, it requires us to get into healthy relationships with these things, right? If someone's been abused, something terrible has happened to them, right? They've had sexual abuse or something like this. Well, we don't want them to live the rest of their life traumatized and in pain. We want them to be able to heal that so they can penetrate or be penetrated in a loving, safe, healthy, intimate, beautiful, pleasurable, wonderful way. And just that alone, I mean, for most people, there's right, there's so many things around it. You know, safety, trust, violating intimacy, surrender, allowance, fear, so many things. So just the instructions alone of allow, penetrate, surrender, let go, for a lot of people, there's a tremendous amount of work we have to do just to get people okay with the one verb in order to start healing a bunch of other things. So I love that you brought that up, and I love that you said, all right, well, I'm doing this penetrate thing. It's not working. Let me try something else. Let me phrase it a different way. And that was more helpful. Um, so that's great. The only thing you want to look at is just make sure that it's not an avoidance. That if you need to penetrate, you're okay with it. You're comfortable with it, right? It's kind of like the drinking thing. So you want to make sure you're not just scared of alcohol. You just choose not to do it. So,
Yeah, that's helpful. Now I'll have to examine that word more, why it bothers me or it doesn't work for me, I guess.
yeah. Well, remember that when we did the movement, as you walk through the space, you weren't penetrating the space, right? There's that masculine absent in your back. So, based off of the little bit we did, I think my hunch is if you were a client and was working with you, we would get you very comfortable with penetrating. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the solution for your emotional stuff, but that word, I feel in your energy um, uh, a lack of that. And so just because there's a lack, if you didn't have a lack, right, if you were great at penetrating and you were terrified and closed off and you had all your armor up, I'd say, right, well, be penetrated, surrender, allow, let it in. So again, it's just that balance because I actually feel you are, as you said, you're much more able to allow and let in. So I would play with that. All right, Holly, anything on your side?
Yeah, I've been kind of taking some baby steps and getting out of my comfort zone, and I've done a couple of things over this past week. I actually went out to eat, and that was really awkward and uncomfortable for me.
Can you say that again? I was turning up
Yeah,
my volume.
I went out to eat, and that was really uncomfortable for me. I haven't done that in a very long time.
What'd you have?
Mexican food.
What'd you have?
I don't even know. I picked something off the menu I'd never seen before,
Okay,
and it was
good.
delicious. So
Good. Did you like it?
yeah, it was really, really good.
Oh,
Really
good.
tender chicken and lots of green
See,
onions.
look, life awaits you. Delicious Mexican food.
And I saw a baby deer. I live kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so I saw a baby deer. It was about a week ago, and I have not seen a parent around it, so I'm kind of like protective of this little deer. And I saw it kind of going toward the busier road, which is toward the front of my house. So I actually kind of came out to scare it a little bit, and it ran back. And I walked outside, and it just kind of turned around and just we kind of stared at each other. And it felt like a really, really long time that we stared at each other. And I found myself being very protective of this little thing. And it was just staring at me. And it's almost like it sensed that I wasn't trying to hurt it, and it didn't run or anything. And later that day it came back, and it like laid down outside of the window, my bedroom window. So I kind of had this really weird experience with this deer, but I realized while we were having a staring contest, like I allowed myself to open and really feel, and I teared up, and I had this almost like space inside of me that was really warm and wonderful. And I also realized that I was afraid of like caring about this being because I was afraid to lose, you know, that connection, or something would happen to it and then I would be devastated. So I think I have a little bit more of an idea of what's going on with some of my reticence in life as a result of that.
I don't think that was a weird experience at all. I think that was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't need to protect yourself and judge it. You know, this is a place where we can we can feel that beauty and that warmth and that spaciousness. Um, you know, there was, you know, another word for that was intimacy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that it feels safe to be here. And I've seen it several times since then. I'm always looking at my window now, so I
You made a new friend.
did.
Yeah, so I would also kind of take a look to see what that represents inside yourself. You know, what that deer represents. You know, maybe it's this sweetness, this innocence that you're protecting in yourself as well.
Yeah. The vulnerability, and you know, like being so innocent and not having that protection. I think there's a lot to that. Like, oh God, does it know what to do? You know, it seems fine, but you know, does it know what to do? Does it know how to keep itself safe? You know, I don't want to get too close to it because I don't want it to think humans are all safe, and that can happen. I did a lot of reading, and but it's like peripherally, you know, I just want to kind of be a part of, you know, that situation. So, um, yeah, it's really, yeah.
Well, the healing's gonna come to you. It's gonna find you, even if it's a little deer.
Mm-hmm. It was a very sweet experience.
All you had to do was go have some Mexican food.
It'll change your life.
Nails, circles, Mexican food. I can add that to the list. I love Mexican food.
Mexican food is my Klondike bar, so
Oh, what would
you
you
can do
do?
just about anything.
Oh, would you turn on your video for some Mexican food?
Almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
You gotta show me the Mexican food first.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Make some. What about, do you like guacamole?
Yes, yes, I do.
Maybe we'll have a Mexican party one night.
Ooh, that would be fun.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. It's nice.
You want to share about the workshops?
Yes. I'm going to be getting these up on the website soon in a newsletter. But we're going to have a cinesomatic discovery class, which is about a 4-hour class, um, mostly for people that have never done it before. First part, I'm going to be explaining what cinesomatics is and talking about it. And then the second part, we're going to do some movement and let you experience what this weird thing is. And then the following month, I believe, yes, in November, we're going to have cinesomatic exploration, which is our core our core workshop, and that'll be a 2-day online workshop. And that isn't going to be lecturing, teaching, presentation like a class. It's going to be all experiential. So we're going to be doing moving, dancing, feedback, review, participant feedback for each other. And so that's going to be our first group workshop in a year. So a lot of people are going to want to be on that, and that's online. And then in December, early December, we're going to do a Cinesomatic Slackline, and that one's in person in Nashville. And that's a 2-day weekend where we're going to uh, get up on the Slackline. And this is a very, very powerful diagnostic that I learned from my mentor. And it's your life. So how you do one thing is how you do anything. How you walk on the slack line is how you walk through your life. I mentioned earlier before about vision and where you're looking and how you get up, how you walk, how you turn, how you move. And so this is going to be an assisted thing. So you don't have to worry about physical fitness or anything. We've had people in their 80s do it. You have 2 assistants on either side. So it's very safe. And you don't have to worry about physical fitness. And so what we'll be doing there is we'll be recording you on the Slack line, plus the 2 assistants. And then we're going to have everybody go through on the first day. And afterwards, in the afternoon, we're going to review the footage. So we're going to bring up the footage and give all the feedback and go through that process, which is very, very powerful. And then the next day, we do the same thing. And so you have an opportunity to incorporate all of the feedback and lessons and healing and learnings from the first day on the second day to have an opportunity to make new choices, to integrate that in new ways. And we do the same thing there. So that's what I got. We'll have the dates up on the website. I should, in the next day or so, have all of that set up so you can expect a newsletter in the next few days to sign up if you would like. And then we're going to have the next Awaken call here is going to be next Wednesday. Darun's coming out next week from Australia to do an intensive. So I got to make room for that. So Wednesday will be the call at the same time instead of Thursday. And then the following week, we're going to do the early call. So for people around the world who can't make it at 7 Central Time, we're going to do it at noon Central Time. So it's 7 hours earlier next Thursday, the 3rd of October. So lots of stuff. Those are the updates. I'll be typing stuff up, posting stuff up on the group and newsletter, so you don't miss anything. All right. Thanks for the reminder, Hannah. Appreciate it. All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Great to meet you, Marcus and Heather. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.